The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While the crowd was pressing in on Jesus and listening to the word of God, he was standing by the lake of Gennesaret. He saw two boats there alongside the lake. The fishermen had disembarked and were washing their nets. Getting into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, he asked him to put out a short distance from the shore. Then he sat down and taught the crowds from the boat. After he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and lower your nets for a catch." Simon said in reply, "Master, we have worked hard all night and have caught nothing. But at your command, I will lower the nets." When they had done this, they caught a great number of fish, and their nets were tearing. They signaled to their partners in the other boat to come to help them. They came and filled both boats, so that the boats were in danger of sinking. When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at the knees of Jesus and said, "Depart from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." For astonishment at the catch of fish they had made seized him and all those with him, and likewise James and John, the sons of Zebedee, who were partners of Simon. Jesus said to Simon, "Do not be afraid. From now on you will be catching men." When they brought their boats to the shore, they left everything and followed him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I imagine Peter has been in this situation before. I mean, who hasn't? You're there doing your job, doing some type of work, and all of a sudden some voice comes from over your shoulder, somebody peering over your shoulder and saying, oh, that you missed a spot of net there that you need to clean up better. Or that perhaps if you had done it the way I want you to do it, you might have caught a few more fish, right? We all have people like that in our lives. I think I certainly do. I live in a religious community, for goodness sakes, so there's always somebody who's noticing something that you did not the right way. But when I was growing up, it was my sisters, and I understand. I was kind of a heady young kid at even 6 and 7, always daydreaming, and they'd be trying to get me moving to get ready for the walk to school. I understand that, but I really didn't like when they would tell me how to wash my hands or how to put my jacket on the right way. Maybe it's your spouse that redoes the dishwasher because they don't like the way you stack dishes in the dishwasher. Maybe it's your roommate who's constantly on your back to pick up your socks and everything else that you own on the floor. Maybe it's your lab partner who doesn't like the way you're doing your part of the experiment. It can be all kinds of things like that. And so when Peter has that voice behind him, I can understand if he's a little frustrated. I know what I'm doing. We've been hard at it all night, and we've caught nothing. But this time it's different. This time it's Jesus. This time it's the Master. And you notice that Jesus is not doing any of those things that annoying people do to us. He's not telling Peter that what he did was wrong. He's not saying anything that's critical. There's no criticism of Peter in his suggestion that he do the next thing and put out into the deep. Put out into the deep. Go outside of your comfort zone, Peter. Do this with more effort, with more faith, with more hope. Go outside of your predictable ways of doing things and go deeper with me. Go deeper for me. Peter does. They can't contain the catch of fish. The abundance is so great. Think about that in our own lives. You know, that how often are we challenged or encouraged to move outside of the familiar and go out into the deep? How often are there people perhaps in our lives who encourage us to really go beyond what we think we can do? And are we grateful for that? Maybe it's even within our own minds and our own hearts that we have that call to, maybe I can be doing something more with this, maybe something more with my life than what I'm doing right now. And it's going to be hard. I hope we hear that, because I think very often that's the voice of Jesus in our lives, calling us to make more of our lives than what we in the immediate moment see ourselves capable of, to have more meaning in our lives than what we're giving our lives credit for, giving ourselves credit for. That call to go out into the deep, that call to vocation, that call to really spend our lives for something and someone who is worthy of it. And I hope we listen as Peter did and do as the Master says and follow him.